Okay. Oops. All right. What the heck? Ugh. All right. Come on. What's going on here? Oh, it's buffering. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to go over some bio about the Middle East and a little bit over what happened. You know, I had to read, and boy, did I learn a lot today. I really did. So it's good to see all of you. You know, I think when you are in the truth, you expect these things to happen, wars and rumors of wars. And we know a lot about what's going to happen with the Persians. So for us, I don't think it's too shocking. We know these things are coming. But for those that really are not in the truth, all of this is going to be shocking to them. And it really shouldn't be shocking at all. But unfortunately, these are the things that we are dealing with. Well, I'm doing this one kind of solo, African Pharaoh. And, you know, you're more than welcome to put things in the chat and in the comment section. So let me just start with Iraq and Iran. Now, one thing I found out, ladies and gentlemen, at one point in time, that used to be one whole country. And it was war that divided them. But it used to be one a long time ago. So, and also at one point in time, America and Iran, when the Shah of Iran was still alive, were allies. And Iran was very much like a Western nation. They didn't dress the way that they do back then. Back then, shoot, if you look at some of the old pictures from the 60s, they were walking around with boots and mini skirts on. The women were dressed like that. They didn't have their hair covered at all. They didn't get pushed back into the burqas until the Ayatollah Khomeini overthrew the government there. But if you would look at pictures of Iran and even video footage from back then, you would have seen them looking very much like us and wearing very similar clothes. So when the Shah of Iran was overthrown, if you remember, he was staying here in the US. So America and Iran were not always enemies. Another thing that I found out is when George W. Bush and Barack Obama were approached about assassinating this general, they both refused because they didn't want to kick off another war. We were already over our heads with Afghanistan and Iraq. So they refused to do it. But as you can see, Trump moved ahead and he did this. Now, he claims that he did this to prevent a war from happening. But there are many people that believe this will cause a war. See, it's one thing if Iran is shooting down a drone or hijacking an oil tank, or a tanker out there in the Persian Gulf. It's something entirely different when you start killing people. Now you've changed the entire dynamics of things that will happen from this point on. And now you have Iran that is saying they want revenge. They are going to seek revenge. And I'm telling you, they're going to get really fired up for this general's funeral. Now, he did not die alone. It was 7 of them, including the general that died. So we shall see what happens. Trump already said he does not want war. He doesn't want this because, look, technically, we did not win Iraq. We did not win. I'm not going to say we. The United States did not win Iraq, and the United States did not win in Afghanistan. So I don't know. I'm just saying I don't believe this country can handle being in a third nation for an indefinite period of time. And that is ultimately what could happen. And I've been looking at a lot of the foreign news because the information is just so much better. Unfortunately, America is not a good nation to learn in. Not unless you are strong enough to research and seek out information for yourself, then this place is really not a learning nation. It's an indoctrination nation, but not good for learning. So you really do have to branch out to other sources to get good information. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have an article that was published by Al Jazeera, and it goes over a lot of the history of the general, because to be honest with you, I really did not know a lot about this man. And when you look at, let's say, American news, all they do is talk about how much we were adversaries with this person, but they don't tell you no details about them. Who is this person? Why did you kill him? Who is he? The information is too vague. And this is what they do time and time again in America. And it just gets tiring. They just hate to teach you something. But it's okay to indoctrinate you. But teaching you, forget it. It's out of the question. So let me pull up this article and share my screen with you. Okay. My phone is here. Okay, y'all. I hope everybody can see the screen. Okay. Come on. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so let me take you back to the beginning. This is Qassem Soleimani. And he was a general for the last 20 years. And many of you have heard of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Okay, that's right. Jennifer Kent Ishmael is a wild man, right? And that is the truth. Okay, so what he was doing, he was leaving Baghdad International Airport, and they were in a convoy, and a drone came along and fired several missiles and hit them. So about 6 people plus the general were killed. Okay. General Qassem Soleimani was head of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Quad Force was killed early on Friday alongside 6 others following a U.S. raid at Baghdad International Airport. Soleimani acquired celebrity status at home and abroad as a leader of a foreign arms of the Revolutionary Guards and for his key role in fighting in Syria and Iraq. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one thing about the Iranians at one point in time, especially when Saddam Hussein was alive, he couldn't stand Iraq. They hated each other. But these two nations are really brothers, technically. They just got divided through war. All right, so his instrumental in spreading the Iranian influence in the Middle East, which the United States and Tehran regional foes, Saudi Arabia and Israel have struggled to keep in check. Now, there were several attempts on his life. In fact, Israel was another one that tried to take this man out. So he survived several assassination attempts against him by Western, Israeli, and Arab agencies over the past 20 years. Soleimani Quad Force, tasked with carrying out operations beyond Iran's borders, shored up support for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Now, they are allies, and they have been trying to help Syria alongside with Russia. When he looked close to defeat in the civil war raging since 2011, and also helped armed groups to defeat the Islamic State in Iraq and Levant, ISIL, also known as ISIS, ascend to power. Soleimani became head of the Quad Force in 1998 and kept a low profile for years while he strengthened Iran's ties with Hezbollah in Lebanon, Syria, Assad, and Shia militia groups in Iraq. In recent years, he stepped into the limelight, appearing alongside of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and other Shia leaders. So that's who he is with in the picture. Under Soleimani's leadership, the Quad Force vastly expanded its capabilities, becoming a significant influence in intelligence, financial, and political spheres beyond Iran's borders. Soleimani comes from a humble background, born into a poor family in southeastern Iran, Kerman province. He started working as a 13-year-old to help support his family, spending his free time lifting weights and attending sermons by Khamenei. As a young man, during the Iranian Revolution in 1997, Soleimani began his ascent through the Iranian military, reportedly receiving just 6 weeks of tactical training before seeing combat for the first time in Iran's west. Azerbaijan province, according to Foreign Policy magazine. Soleimani emerged from the Iran-Iraq war a national hero for the mission he led across Iraq's border. So following the reestablishment of government in Iraq in 2005, Soleimani influence extended into Iraqi politics under the leadership of former Prime Minister Ibrahim al-Jafari and Nouri al-Maliki. During the time, the Badr organization, a Shia political party, and a paramilitary force that has been described as Iran's oldest proxy in Iraq, became an arm of the state after the Interior and Transportation Ministries came under control of the armed group political wing. Following an outbreak of civil war in Syria in 2011, Soleimani ordered some of his Iraqi militias into Syria to defend the Assad government. So that's what they have been doing the whole time, all the way up until now in Syria. During Iraq's fight against ISIL, the Had al-Shabaab, I guess, a popular mobilization force, and Iran-backed Shia paramilitary units, some of which fell under Soleimani's control, fought along the Iraqi military to defeat the armed group. So they're saying he actually defeated ISIL, and that's how he became a big national hero in Iraq and a martyr. Okay, not only to the Iranian people, but even to other locations that was struggling with ISIL in that region. They all considered this man a hero. If it wasn't for people like him, the region would have seen black flags flying across the region. Threats to Soleimani. Soleimani was rumored to be dead on several occasions, including in a 2006 aircraft crash that killed other military officials in northwestern Iran, and following a 2012 bombing in Damascus that killed top aides of embattled Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. In November 2015, rumors circulated that Soleimani was killed or seriously wounded, leading forces loyal to Assad as they fought around Syria, Aleppo. There have been repeated attacks on Quad air bases in Syria, and in August, Israel accused the force of planning killer drone attacks and said its air raids showed Tehran that its forces were vulnerable anywhere. Now, that's why they shoot down those drones. What they do is when they shoot them down, they take them apart to see how they actually work. And then once they study them and know how they work and know how to duplicate those drones, then they'll just send the drones back to the US, because now they got your whole design and they can duplicate their own drones to be similar to the one they shot down. They do that all the time. Okay. Foreign Minister Israel Katz said at the time that Israel was working to uproot Soleimani, according to Israeli media. More recently, in October, Tehran said it had foiled a plot by Israeli and Arab agencies to kill Soleimani. So they made an attempt on his life back in October. So I guess where Israel failed, the United States succeeded. Somehow, we shall see what happens over these next few days. Because, you know, over in that region, they funeralize these people and get them in the ground right away. They don't waste time like they do here in the US. You know, you'll be planning a funeral for a week before you even get around to putting that person in the ground. Over there, it's a whole different story. You die, they get you in the ground right away. So I'm sure in the next day or so, we'll see that, and we shall see what happens. I mean, the US Congress is very upset with Trump, because if there are any wars or any assassinations that he wants to do that all have to go through Congress. Trump literally bypassed Congress and he did this attack on his own. So when I woke up to listening to Congress express their anger that he moved forward on something and never went through them. But hey, this is Donald Trump we're talking about. This is Donald Trump. I mean, when does he listen to anyone? He never does. So this gives you a little more insight on who this person was. When you look at it in the whole scheme of things, he was a big threat, especially to America in that region. Thank you so much, Demetrius. He was a big threat in that region. So, and especially Israel. Many of you that have been following this news, you know Israel have wanted to start a fight with Iran for the longest time. You know, and whatever Israel does, America's right there to back them up. So they've been itching to get at these people for a long time. So we shall see how many people get involved. I don't think it's going to be just the U.S. I think, you know, I would not be surprised if Israel crops up somewhere in this whole thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. I'm not going to keep you long. This was just to give you a bio on this man. So please enjoy the rest of your evening. And by the way, the True Royal family is about to put up a premiere. So y'all get over there and show your love and support, you know, and just watch the premiere that she's about to put up. It's probably going to be about maybe like an hour from now or maybe even less. So wherever you are, family, in this world, please be safe and enjoy the rest of your night. Peace, family.